What's up, y'all? And welcome back to another Abbott Elementary review. This is season 2, episode 9. Sick Day is the title of this episode, and I loved it, y'all. It was very funny. And I'm just glad that you all are back with me. Missed y'all over the Thanksgiving break. We didn't even have our show, our favorite show over the Thanksgiving break. So I'm so glad to be back. So let's get into the video. All right, y'all. So, like I stated before, this episode is called Sick Day. And y'all, forgive me because I've been having my own type of sickness going on. Some of my voice is going in and out. So bear with me. We start out with everybody in the teacher's lounge as usual. And Janine is like scurrying around. She's looking for her sandwich, a half of her tuna melt that she put in the refrigerator. But unbeknownst to all of them, our girl Ava has put everything out of the refrigerator basically to stock these eye masks that she's going to be selling, like a pyramid scheme type of thing. And she's like, basically, in her own Ava way, I don't care about what y'all got going on. I moved it over there in the windowsill with the mayonnaise, with all the other condiments. This is going to be my little side hustle, so y'all just going to have to bear with it. And of course, all the teachers are in there like just rolling their eyes like, what else could she get into? Meanwhile, in comes Melissa, and she storms in there because she's upset that basically all the printed paper and supplies are gone because, again, Ava's using it up for her flyers to sell these eye masks. And everybody's just like looking at her sideways like, what more can you do? Do you not understand? Like, we already got it bad enough. Like, why are you using all of our resources and all of our supplies and everything like that? And she's basically like, y'all complain too much. Do y'all ever see me complaining? And they kind of just looked at each other like, is that are you serious? Like, yes, we see you complain each and every single day. And even Greg had a little comment behind that. And so we don't see Janine for a little while, but then when we do, we see that she's finally found this tuna melt that is been sitting in the sun for however long. And they even ask how long it's been sitting out, and everyone's like, I don't know. I'm not a weatherman. And we see that Janine is eating it. And right then and there, I was just like, oh, that is not going to be good. That is not going to be good. And so, and everybody else was just like, are you sure you should be eating that? And we move on from while Ava is going like over all of these. Well, this is the next day. While Ava's going over all of these like reviews and comments for the eye mask and things like that, she keeps getting an incoming FaceTime, incoming text messages, incoming calls. And we see that it's from Janine, but she just keeps ignoring it. Finally, she answers in a way that makes it seem like to Janine that she's just interrupting whatever she was doing. And Janine is, she looks like she's been sweating. She just looks under the weather. And so it puts two together. I knew it was that tuna melt that had our good sis Janine's stomach rumbling. And she basically let her know, like, hey, I'm not going to be in. I'm very sick. And she just basically ignored Janine. And then Janine was like, no, seriously, I'm not coming in. I'm sick. It was a tuna melt that I ate. She was basically saying like, I'm vomiting. She even vomited over the phone while on FaceTime with Ava. And she told Ava, like, basically someone's going to have to sub for my class. It's Friday. My kids have a spelling test. They've been studying really hard for this. I don't want them to miss out on it. They've been preparing for this. And so I need a sub. And she's just like, okay, yeah, whatever. So she calls in, I guess, an assistant. I don't know. It's a new character that they introduced, you guys. And this person basically we can assume that she picks up the slack for Ava. And she's like, Ava calls her in there. She's like, I need a sub for Janine's class. And she's basically looks at her like she had two heads and said, there's a statewide shortage. And Ava was like, basically what they got to do with me. And then she was like, how was I supposed to know that? And the lady was like, if you would read the emails, you would see that these things are forwarded to you for a purpose. I mean, you are the principal. So she was like, so you're just going to have to do what you have to do. But before all of that, Janine let her know, like, hey, in my room, I have a sub binder. I have everything planned out, as teachers often do. for substitute, so they'll know what we're working on. They'll know the routine of the class, so that even though I'm not there, the kids still have that set routine and they're not going to be thrown off for it. Whole time, Ava's just running around, scrambling, trying to find one of the teachers in the hallway or calling somebody that she has, like, as I guess a preferred sub that schools often have. They kind of hop around, from class to class in one specific school. And the whole time she's talking to her on the phone, the girl's like, I'm already here covering such and such class. And then she's like, oh my God, then why are you even on my line? Like, hang up the phone and go do what you got to do. She tried to pull a student, not realizing that it was a student because of how tall he was. And it was just like down to the nitty gritty. And everybody was just like, I mean, you basically got to do what you got to do. So then we move from that to Barb and Melissa. They are basically just soaking up the quiet time in the teacher's lounge. They're enjoying the fact that Janine's not there, just talking like nonstop, coming up with all type of crazy ideas. They're just enjoying, quote unquote, this break from her. And then we also see a teacher. We're going to call her Tasha, the teacher. She comes in and we never seen her before. Again, they're introducing new characters and I love it. But she comes in, plops down in what Jacob calls Janine's table or her chair, and just starts to be like, I haven't been in here in a minute because I tried to avoid Chatty Cathy, which she's talking about Janine. And so their ears perk up and they're like, oh, she annoys you too? And it was like they just formed a bond from that. Whole time, Janine's work bestie, Jacob is in there kind of like looking at Barb and Melissa sideways and then looking at Tasha, the teacher, sideways, because it's like, dang, y'all really talking about my girl bad. And they're like, oh my gosh, she gets on my nerves when she does this, and she gets on my nerves when she does this. Oh, you don't like that either? Oh, you don't like that either? You know how people do when they talk bad about you. And he was basically the whole time trying to defend her, like, no, she does that because of this. No, she's like that because of that. And if she was here, you all wouldn't be saying all of this stuff. And they're just like basically paying him dust, like they don't care about it. So then we see Greg in his classroom, he's teaching, and then all of a sudden he realizes that some of Janine's kids are at his door, like, hey, we about to go outside. And he's like, well, why are y'all about to go outside? It's 8 some in the morning. Y'all need to be in class. Like, what's going on? The whole time he didn't realize that this particular day on Friday that Janine didn't there. He didn't realize she wasn't there. So their classrooms, I guess, have doors that go from one to another. So he did some type of like knock that he was able to go through another door to be inside of Janine's classroom and realize that it was Ava who was in there, and he was kind of surprised. And of course, Ava was giving him all types of flirtation, and he was like, basically, like, what are you doing in there? And she's like, I'm the substitute. And he was like, oh, this is gonna be one of them days. So as she's in the class substituting, she basically lets the kids know, like, I'm busy, I'm on my phone, I'm trying to do this little eye mask job. Like, y'all do whatever y'all want to do. Some of the kids, they took advantage of it. The other kids were basically following her around, like, okay, are you going to write the date on the board? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do this? Miss Teagues always does this. And she's just like, well, I'm not her. Like, why are y'all bothering me? Like, y'all need to be doing what y'all need to be doing and leave me alone, basically. So then about this time is when Janine decides to FaceTime her again just to check on her to see what's going on. And she's like, you're substituting in my class? Like, oh my God, no. But then she just realized, well, again, the subfolder, just if you need any help, call me. I'll be there for them. They need to do this test. Again, they've been studying for it. I want my kids to do their best. Like, this is what they've been waiting for. Again, the subfolder is in this drawer. Please, get it out and go over. And she's like, okay, just to get her off the phone. She's looking through the subfolder and she's basically like, this is dumb. This is dumb. This is dumb. And she doesn't really take it for what it is. She doesn't really think it's that serious because to her, she's just substituting for one day. The kids can take a break. It's not going to bother them. They're not really going to care about it, whether they have the test or not. And she just like, it is what it is. Then we go back to the lounge. Jacob is still in there, and Barb and Melissa are still in there talking with Tasha, the teacher. And again, he's still defending her. He's still kind of like looking at them like, y'all are really loving this. And I can't believe that y'all are really zogging my good sis Janine like that. Like, she is a pivotal part of this school. If she's not here, then this doesn't happen and that doesn't happen. And they're kind of like, whatever, whatever. And he even is like annoyed at the fact that, we all know Janine always wants to hang with Barb and Mel outside of school or during lunch, and they always give her some type of runaround about why they can't do it. Whole time they take it upon themselves to invite Tasha the teacher with them. That again raises Jacob's eyebrows like, oh, so the whole time it was spot for her to come. Y'all just don't like her. Y'all just didn't really want her to be there. And that again, they're all buddy, buddy, buddy because they have this kind of dislike or this annoyance, this shared annoyance of Janine Teague. So as Ava is trying to go along with the subfolder, like I said, she isn't feeling it. She's like the least concerned with how everything's going. And she just, is like, go ahead and take y'all test. They play music. Well, she starts to play music and not realizing that when Janine is in the class playing music, it means that it's time for them to draw. So when they start to bring her all of these like papers, it's drawing on there. She's like, why are y'all doing this? It's supposed to be our spelling test. And they're like, well, when Miss Teagues plays music, she tells us to basically let our creative juices flow, for lack of better words. And she was just like, whatever. Again, I'm just in here for one day. I'm not taking it serious. Like, it's not going to bother y'all if y'all don't do what y'all need to do. But not realizing that her music is disturbing Greg's class. So he decides to go over there to see how she's doing and realizes that she's failing at this substitute thing. And the kids are still questioning her, like, are you going to do this? Miss Teague does this. Why aren't we doing this? It's time to do this. It's time to do that. And she just keeps blowing it off. So we get a flash over to Janine while she's in her apartment. She's trying her best to get it together. She's got on clothes. She's trying to make it out the door, still throwing up. And then as she's walking in the living room, trying to get out the door because she's just determined to not let her kids down, her stomach gets to rumbling and she's having that, oh no, oh no, oh no feeling as she's running to the bathroom. We can all guess what's going down in there. And so we jump back to the hallway where Ava has completely just gave up on the substitute thing because she's starting to get complaints and she's starting to get bad reviews on these eye masks that she's selling, and she's trying to like manage it, trying to get it together, trying to like do damage control basically. And Greg finds her in the hallway and he's like giving her this speech like, listen here, like, even though to you this is just a one day thing. I used to think that way when I first started here because we all remember he was a substitute there. And I didn't think that routines matter. I didn't think that kids really paid attention to it. But Janine really works hard in this classroom. She's really got a good relationship with her kids. She really pours into them. And even though you're here for just this one day, can you please just like try? That's all he wants you to do. He just wanted her to do was to try. And he gave her this speech, this pep talk, and she decided, okay, I'll give it another try, because what had happened before she left, she told the custodian, Mr. Johnson, to come in and sub, and he was just in there just talking about every old thing, and the kids were, I'm sure, probably like, what the heck is going on here? So after the speech, we see, but even before that, even before we go back to the teacher's lounge, as Ava is giving a try, as she's trying to go through this subfolder and do what needs to be done, she writes the dates on the board. She is ready to do the reading circle, or like the circle time with the kids. Y'all, she pulled out some of my favorite elementary school bangers. When I tell y'all I used to love reading, I still do lightweight, but when I was in elementary school, middle school, I used to read. I used to love the library, y'all. And Amelia Bedelia was my jam. I remember the Eloise book that she was reading to them, because at first she was trying to push those books to the side and tell them a story about a time she was with some rappers back in the 90s. But then she was like, no, let me get it together. Let's go ahead and read what they done picked out. But when she said Amelia Bedelia, I was just like, oh my gosh. And whatever line that she used to explain who Amelia Bedelia was, it basically kind of described how she acts as the principal. And one of the little boys was looking at her like, are you serious? Like, probably thinking in his mind, like, that's you, ma'am. But she looked at him like, I dare you say something. And then he finally sat down on the carpet. But I was just like, oh my God. Like, oh my gosh. Because the classroom that I'm in now, I done found like the stash where we keep like the really, really good books that are still in good condition. And I was going through down memory lane. It was like nostalgia. Like, I'm telling y'all, when she said Amelia Bedelia, I screamed because that was my book. I remember my mama used to read those to us. I used to read them all the time, y'all. Get y'all kids some books and get them off them iPads and stuff because they're very important. But anyways, so she did the thing. She gave them the test. She's realizing, what I'm doing is important, even though I'm only in here for a day. She's realizing that the things that the teachers were complaining about in the beginning of the episode, like her using up all the printer paper, and all those type of things, like it's important, it matters, because as she was looking, she needed to go and make more copies of the spelling test sheet. But she realized when she got to the copy machine, like there was no paper, and she had to turn over her flyers and print the spelling test sheet on the back of the flyers. And I think with this whole her substituting type of thing, it kind of gave her like a gist of a day in the life of a teacher. And she realized, like, no, it's not really complaining. Like, these are really things that they do and they work hard. And so I should be more aware of these things. So moving back to the teachers lounge, the teachers are coming back in from a coffee break that they said that they, snuck away for, when it was Barbara, Melissa, and Tasha, the teacher. And in walks Jacob, and he's rolling his eyes because he's like, oh, the gang's out here, like basically the petty crew. And they come back to find that there's an issue going on in the break room, and they're like, just like, well, Melissa and Barbara is just like freaking out over it, and they're like, what are we gonna do, and Tasha, the teacher, was like, it's not my problem, and dips out. And they're kind of like, and then Jacob's like, like rubbing it in their face, like, oh, you wish Janine was here, don't you? Because she would know how to fix this problem. And then they kind of look at each other and look at him like, yeah, you're right, we do kind of miss her. So after Tasha, the teacher, dipped, and, after Ava realized, like I said, the things that we have here are important and I need to be more aware of these things. It's the weekend is over, because we all know that was a Friday, and it's Monday. And who do we see walking in, just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, into the lounge on Monday? Janine. And she's like, happy Monday, everybody. And, everybody's happy to see her, and, with the smile on her face. And she's like, what's been going on in here? And she even walks up to Tasha, the teacher, who I guess still thinks that she's out sick. And she's like, I haven't seen you in forever. Let me sit down and talk to you? And again, Tasha dips out and went to one of the like hallway confessionals and was just like, you can't have good things forever. Like, basically, like, the annoying person is back, so she'll be in hiding again. But her friends, Barbara and Melissa, basically made these like statements like, you know what, like, we did miss you. Like, we do appreciate you. Like, we need your infectious joy and your smile and your wit and your awkwardness. Like, it's home to us. You know what I'm saying? And as they're all having this conversation and just, making her feel welcome, and Greg gave her like this like Gatorade type of drink to help her as she still recovers with, the electrolytes and all that stuff. Ava walks in and she's just like, hey, basically telling them, like, if anybody asks y'all about these eye masks, like, let them know you don't know who did it or why. So obviously that did not work out for her, and she's basically running from the people who bought it from her, I guess. And Mr. Johnson walks by with this big old like cart full of printer paper, and everybody's just like, wait, you ordered that for us? And she's like, yeah, I'm not that bad. And then she also said something about she made all these like mandatory important phone calls about, the fire alarms and systems and all that, because she realized she wasn't up to date on those things, and she needs to be more aware. She needs to be more with it. She needs to make sure that everything is taken care of. And again, I feel like her being put into the position of substitute teacher and having to get out of the principal mode, even though she's never really in principal mode, she realizes how important teachers are, how important the things that they have and the access to the things that they need are important. And it's not just the job of basically babysitting children, as a lot of people would like to say, because it's more to that. Trust and believe. I can attest to that. It's way more than just babysitting some kids. It takes passion. It takes, like Greg was saying, routine. It takes trial and error, but we deserve, teachers, we deserve so much more than what we get, because it's a hard job and not a lot of people can do it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And like I said, she's experienced it for herself now, and she realizes the teachers are not complaining just to be complaining. They're complaining to a certain extent because they need what they need, and they need people to understand. And I feel like now they can share that kind of like common ground with Ava. And then again, another thing that I took away from this episode was that Janine is a vital part of Abbott Elementary. No matter how quirky she is, no matter how weird she may be, no matter how awkward she may be, no matter how bubbly her personality is, and how much it can annoy other people and they don't understand her, she's a vital piece of the Abbott Elementary puzzle. And those type of people are needed when they realize that you are not there. Like the old saying goes, kind of paraphrasing it, but like you don't realize what you have until it's gone. Basically, that is what it is. You don't realize how good you have it until it's gone. And even though she was sick for that one day, they realized how important she is to them, how much they really need her there, how much she really like completes that family, and how much of the glue she is for everybody. And I just love that, because Janine's character is a light, basically. And there's so many teachers out there, or there's people out there that, people just don't realize how good they have it until they don't have it anymore. And that's why it's important to appreciate everybody around you. It's important to appreciate the little things in people, because they make a big difference. And then at the end of the episode, again, like I said, the whole eye mask and selling it situation, Ava was trying to get rid of all the evidence. She was shredding all of the flyers she made, and in walks Jacob with these big old sunglasses on. And we see that he purchased one of those eye masks, because when he took those glasses off, he had a big rash over his face, and was basically like, can you at least give my money back? Like, what can we do to fix this? And she basically like, I don't know how to help you, and blows him off. And he's just like, huh. And then he walks out of the office, and she's just like, oh, well, back to the old Ava, looking out for Ava show. I really love this episode. Like I said, I took away some good stuff from it, as I always do, because I'm always trying to like look deeper into the episodes for a little bit of a little meaning. But again, appreciate those around you, love on those who love on you, continue to give off and be your authentic self. This is Authentically RGB TV, so we are for being authentic, and know that you are appreciated. And if nobody has said it to you, I appreciate you all. I love you all. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all next week when we recap another episode of Abbott Elementary. Thank you guys for the views and the comments and the likes. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and weekend, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Remember to be authentically you, the way that you were created to be.